Forrester's illness came like a storm, silent but devastating. What began as subtle signs of fatigue and shortness of breath quickly escalated into something far more serious. Doctors diagnosed him with a rare degenerative disease, one that would slowly rob him of his strength. As the patriarch of Forrester Creations, Eric had always been the steady hand guiding the company. His decision to step down, even temporarily, sent ripples through the entire family. But it was who he chose as his temporary successor that caused an earthquake. Brooke Logan. The announcement shocked everyone. Ridge and Stephie stood frozen as Eric named Brooke as the acting CEO of Forrester Creations. Not Ridge, his own son. Not Stephie, the co-CEO and a legacy Forrester. But Brooke, the woman whose relationship with the family had always been layered with complication and contradiction. Brooke, whose history with Ridge was as passionate as it was tumultuous. Brooke, who had once been the outsider. Eric's rationale was clear. Brooke knew the business, had experience, and had stood by his side through countless trials. He trusted her judgment. But for Ridge and Stephie, trust wasn't enough. They saw betrayal. They saw a power grab dressed as loyalty. From the moment Brooke stepped into the executive office, things began to change. She didn't just sit in Eric's chair, she claimed it. The first week was a whirlwind of meetings, restructuring, and reassignments. Brooke made swift decisions that cut through layers of tradition. She consolidated design teams, reassigned key marketing executives, and began pivoting the brand's identity toward a younger, edgier image. She called it modernization. Others called it an invasion. Stephie was the first to push back. She challenged Brooke in front of the board, questioning her right to make such sweeping changes without consensus. But Brooke, armed with Eric's legal appointment and the authority it carried, brushed her aside. If you have a problem with how I run this company, take it up with Eric. Until then, I suggest you focus on your responsibilities. Stephie seethed. She wasn't used to being sidelined, least of all by Brooke. She rallied Ridge, expecting him to step in and correct what she saw as a gross overreach. But Ridge, caught between loyalty to his father and his complex feelings for Brooke, hesitated. His silence was deafening. Brooke's next move was even bolder. She proposed a radical redesign of the Hope for the Future line, emphasizing streetwear and digital campaigns over traditional couture. Thomas, who had poured himself into the line's recent success, was livid. "You don't understand this brand," he shouted in a tense creative meeting. "You're tearing down everything we built." "I'm evolving it," Brooke snapped back. "And if you can't evolve with it, maybe you're in the wrong role." That line set off a domino effect. Rumors spread like wildfire through the office. Longtime employees feared for their jobs. Alliances formed in whispers and conference room corners. The Forrester empire, long held together by family ties and creative passion, was fracturing. Meanwhile, Eric's condition worsened. Confined mostly to his home, he watched the drama unfold from a distance. Donna tried to shield him from the worst of it, but even she couldn't hide the headlines. Trade magazines ran with the story: Brooke Logan takes over Forrester, revolution or ruin. Despite the backlash, Brooke stayed the course. She brought in outside consultants, rebranded the social media presence, and even hinted at expanding internationally with pop-up runway shows in London and Tokyo. Investors took notice. Sales surged in key demographics. But inside the company, the civil war raged on. Stephie began meetings secretly with Ridge and Carter, exploring legal options to reverse Brooke's authority. They needed a loophole, a vote of no confidence, anything. But Eric's directives were airtight. Brooke had full power until he revoked it, and he hadn't shown any intention of doing so. Behind closed doors, Ridge confronted Brooke. "Why are you doing this?" he demanded. Is it about Eric? Or is it about finally proving you belong at the top of this family? Brooke's eyes burned with determination. I'm doing what's best for the company. Something you should have done instead of standing on the sidelines. I didn't ask for this role, Ridge. Your father gave it to me. And I won't apologize for living up to it. Tensions reached a boiling point during the quarterly board meeting. Stephie called for a vote of no confidence in Brooke's leadership. Emotions exploded as each executive took a side. Katie stood by Brooke, citing the positive financial trends. Carter abstained, torn between legal duty and personal loyalty. Ridge refused to vote, a move that only deepened the rift between him and Stephie. Ultimately, Brooke survived the vote by a narrow margin. Her reign continued, but the scars left by the conflict ran deep. Outside the boardroom, personal relationships frayed. Ridge and Brooke's on again, off again romance hit another wall. Stephie distanced herself from both of them, focusing instead on regaining control through strategy. Thomas, humiliated by Brooke's public reprimand, considered leaving the company altogether. Through it all, Brooke stood firm. She visited Eric often, updating him on the company's progress, carefully omitting the chaos behind the scenes. Eric, ever the wise patriarch, saw more than she let on. You're doing what you think is right, he told her one afternoon. Just remember, leadership isn't just about results. It's about unity. But unity was in short supply. Brooke's success had come at a cost. Forrester Creations was thriving on the surface, but rotting underneath. Family members stopped trusting each other. Departments operated in silos. The once celebrated culture of collaboration was replaced by tension and distrust. Brooke, now fully immersed in her role, began considering more permanent changes. She hinted in press interviews about a new era at Forrester. Whispers about her lobbying for permanent CEO status started circulating. That was the final straw for Stephie. With Ridge finally at her side, Stephie launched a full-scale campaign to reclaim the company. They brought in outside legal counsel, leveraged shareholder influence, and began planting stories in the media questioning Brooke's long-term vision. Brooke, aware of the threat, doubled down. She launched a new line under her own name, Logan Luxe, showcasing bold, innovative designs that broke from the Forrester mold. The media dubbed it a battle of dynasties. The Logans versus the Forresters. Every runway show, every press release, every executive meeting became a battlefield. Then came the twist no one expected. Eric, weakened but resolute, called an emergency board meeting. Flanked by Donna and his lawyer, he addressed the family. I made a decision out of necessity, he said, his voice firm despite the strain. Brooke stepped in when I couldn't. She's made bold moves, some successful, some divisive. But I see now what this has done to our family. He paused, letting the silence weigh heavily. This company was built on unity, on family. And I won't watch it fall apart. Effective immediately, I am resuming limited control. Brooke will remain in a strategic advisory role, but the day-to-day operations will return to Ridge and Stephie. Shock reverberated around the table. Brooke was stunned. Ridge looked conflicted. Stephie allowed herself a rare smile. The war was over. For now. But as everyone left the room, one thing was clear. The wounds of this battle would take a long time to heal. And in the world of Forrester Creations, peace was always temporary. Brooke may have lost the title, but she had proven she could lead. And she wasn't going anywhere.